do, they'll act like they're stumbling across me. They might even call the police. Now, fellow American citizens, I'm a target victim and activist concerning the continued crimes of what is known as gang stalking. It's not stalking by gangs. Hold on a second. Now, 70% of the victims of this crime are women. This crime is exploding on a massive scale all over the United States in every single neighborhood, town, city, county, and state in the United States. It is a crime that is completely perpetrated by the government of the United States at the federal, state, and local level. Law enforcement is completely involved in it and the protection of it, as well as the courts. Now, so I strongly suggest that you extensively and thoroughly research this crime at Google and YouTube. Now, I got some animal activity going on around me right now a little bit. I've been made homeless as a result of being a victim of this crime. And that technique is all over the internet to be one of the main methodologies that they bring about against the target, by and through, but not limited to, working covertly with landlords, property owners, fellow tenants. And this is done for staged events, so the events can then be used to evict the target. They will also go as far as also stealing your right out of the mail. It doesn't matter what mail delivery service that you utilize. This is an extremely intrusive crime in reference to how it operates, pertaining to not just the perpetration of it, but also all of the covert partnerships. And I'm going to give you an example concerning that. Listen carefully to what I have to say. Now remember, everything that I state in this video, okay, can be Googled when you get done watching it at your leisure, and when appropriate, YouTube. Okay. Now, you can think of the name. You can, like, as a result of us living in America, you can think of the name of any 10 well-known businesses in America. Like, as an example, Burger King, Taco Bell, McDonald's, Sears, Sports Authority, Home Depot, Walmart, and so on and so on. Now, what you want to do is you want to sit down and write down the name of any 10 well-known businesses, okay? Right, and then type each name of those businesses to gang stalking, okay? And thoroughly and extensively research what comes up per description from each search, from each description. Then go back to Google and type in each description to gang stalking concerning 5 different states, like Walmart gang stalking California, Walmart gang stalking Texas, Walmart gang stalking Florida, Walmart gang stalking Michigan, okay? And then do the same thing with the other remaining 9 businesses. Hold on. Now, the reason why I'm telling you to do this is because I wanted to immediately give you an example of not only the extreme prevalence of this crime, but then then as a result of the research, you can sit back and say to yourself, well, how can this be achieved? How can, because there's no loosely knit organized street crime that's got the power to collude with all these businesses. Okay, and just stay with me for a second, because my additional statements are going to blow your mind as well. So take that and set it aside for a second. Then go to Google and type in the name of any 5 well-known banks in gang stalking. Then go to Google and type and do it in the same way in reference to how you're going to search for the businesses. Okay. Then go to Google and type in the name of any university campus. Okay, any university campus. Okay, in the United States, 5 of them. Okay, to gang stalking. Look at what comes up, like UCLA, Harvard, MIT, the UCSD, SDSU, U of M, okay, and look at what comes up. Then go to Google and type in the name of, and then type in libraries in gang stalking, universities in gang stalking in general, colleges in gang stalking. Now, why am I telling you to do all this? Because it's essential for you to be able to get a visual representation in your mind, about the fact that concerning how prevalent this is. Okay. And then as a result, you're going to say to yourself, well, how can all these different places be committing the same crime? Then go to Google also as well and type in police and gang stalking to every state. Okay. and that includes county and city police departments. Now, the reason why I'm telling you to do this is because as a result of you following my instructions, hold on. A raccoon just passed me, and then a car pulled up. So hold on a minute. I'm gonna make sure the car took off. Just bear with me a second, okay? Just trust me. Now, the reason why I'm telling you to do this is because when you research what I'm stating, you're obviously going to see that it's going on pertaining to each description, right? Now, as a result of what you take from that research, you're going to say to yourself, how in the hell could any loosely knitted organized street crime get universities, okay, including university and library staff, okay, and employees at these businesses and colleges, okay? You're going to flat out be able to see that it's not just people being harassed in these places, but also the fact that the employees are taking a role in it. So you might think to yourself, how can one kind of crime be perpetrated not just in all these places, but also the fact that employees are also participating in it? Just think about what I'm saying. One crime, one type of crime, utilizing the same techniques in all of these places that I've mentioned. Now, the reason why I decided to incorporate this in this video is so you can honestly see that, and that includes the landlords and property owners. Google that to gang stalking. Now, the reason why I'm telling you to do all this, okay, is because in gang stalking, it's a crime that's perpetrated in the system, and they use extremely clever techniques, okay, to work in a covert partnership relationship with these places, including the Chamber of Commerce. Okay. Now, and this is also where the intelligence agencies and law enforcement come in, because the only real individuals that have the ability to privately collude with these places to get them to do things against a victim, an innocent person, okay, they obviously have to have some type of law enforcement influence. Otherwise, when these places were contacted and told what to do, they say, well, who are you? Why are you telling me to do something like this? What you're telling me to do sounds bizarre. You know, I'm going to call the police on you for for you asking me to do this. So you think about what I'm telling you. Do you honestly think that me, you, or anybody else could call up a Walmart, call up a manager of a Walmart, or call up the manager of a university library, okay, or any well-known business and say, I want you to engage in specific behaviors against a person when they come in your establishment? They're going to say, go to hell, and I'm going to call the cops on you. No, that right there should tell you that this is a government-run program executed at the state and local level, working in covert partnerships between law enforcement and the corporations and business community and institutions. Hold on. Sam. Now, there are actual protocols that have been put in place through lies, cleverly created. A lot of it's being done by labeling the target as a terrorist, a criminal, so that can be Googled as well. Like, to give you an example, you can go to YouTube and type in listen to a stranger. You can also go to Google and type in fake, bogus criminal investigation files in gang stalking. You can also go to Google and research how gang stalking victims are being illegally and criminally put on the Violent Persons Registry. There's the community notification. Okay. And basically what it is, it's a clever way to use these safety and law enforcement protocols that are being criminally used to put 100% completely innocent people on them by labeling them as a criminal in order to get the cooperation of these places. Even though, these places are already involved in this crime at the criminal level. So that's one of the reasons why this crime is so interesting and hard to figure out, especially concerning gang stalking victims when they first become victims, because they can't figure out how can all these different places I go into every day be involved in the same type of bizarre criminal harassment of me. Okay, because you don't yet have a name for the crime that's happening to you, because nobody's walking up to you and tapping you on the shoulder and saying, "Hey, you're a gang stalking victim," like it or not. They won't tell you, because one of the main goals of gang stalking is psychological operations to get up in your head, to steer your thinking, to make you feel victimized. Victims of this crime are women. Human trafficking is absolutely and completely directly connected to being one of the main criminal motivations of this crime. Let me just give an example. I'm a good woman. Okay, through God's grace, I'm a good woman. Okay, I'm not perfect. I'm a sinner just like everybody else. Okay, I'm not involved in any type of illegal or criminal activity whatsoever. Period. End of story. I don't even drink. Okay, I don't do drugs. I do not sleep around. I don't steal. I'm not a threat to myself or others, and I'm not mentally ill. But these are literally the type of labels that are being put on gang stalking victims. Okay, so the individuals that in the places that are used, okay, to do things towards the target, like staged events, the harassments, the events that produce arrests and stuff like that. You got to remember, when people are being used against a victim, okay, do you really think that these wild maggots are walking into libraries? Excuse me for a second. Do you really think these criminally insane maggots are walking into libraries and saying to library desk employees, "We got a person here that we want to eventually human traffic. But in order to human traffic this person, we got to run them down mentally, physically." Okay, now when it comes to library employees, they don't need to. They don't need to. They're not going to say we need to also wear them down financially, because that wouldn't fit into the mold of anything that they would state. But what I'm saying is that they're not going to walk in there and say, "Well, we're involved in all this different types of crime motivations, and we want you to assist us in wearing this person down." Okay, and the other reasons why a gang stalking victim can be victimized in these places, which includes brain entrainment as well, and that's attached to the heterodyne, which is attached to the remote neural monitoring, which is attached to the non-consensual human experimentation, and the neurological and biological manipulation. Now, remote neural monitoring is all over the internet to be directly connected to this crime. Okay, you can Google it and extensively YouTube it. They're not going to walk into a university, a store, or a library, okay, or bus drivers, because they're also using gang stalking. Absolutely, absolutely. Make no mistake about it. Absolutely, that's all my descriptions can be Googled. So they're not going to walk into these places and say, "We're involved in 100 different types of criminal motivations," which they absolutely are. And so they're not going to walk into any of these places, okay, especially when they're flashing a badge, real or fake, okay. They're not going to walk into these places and say, "We're involved in 100 different types of criminal motivations, and we want you to help us wear this person down, and we want you to do these things towards a person for possibly even brain entrainment," which I know you don't understand yet. Just trust me on this. It's got to be included, because it is one of the criminal motivations of why gang stalking victims are being harassed. Because every time you're harassed, you have a mental and emotional response, and that's where the heterodyne comes into play. Okay, but I'm not going to go there in that video. I've talked about it in my other videos, so you can go into this Periscope account and review that as well. But the point being, remember, my descriptions can be Googled. Even Dr. Robert Duncan is all over the internet exposing remote neural monitoring and heterodyne and brain entrainment and what that is. I've been on national radio shows exposing aspects of this crime. So, do you really think that these wild, absolutely criminally insane psychopaths are going to walk into businesses, libraries, university campuses, high school campuses, bus transportation services, and say to the individuals that work in these places and patrons, do you really think they're going to approach them and say, "We're involved in 100 different criminal motivations, and we want you to do these specific things towards this person that you do not know, so that can assist us in breaking them down, so the effects can be, so it can produce results, and then the effects from the results can be monopolized on." Okay. Next, what they're going to do is approach them and tell them a clever lie about the target. That's why you need to look at the YouTube video, "Listen to a Stranger." When you look at that YouTube video, "Listen to a Stranger," look at what this guy is telling these people about this woman that's in the store. But about her. But also, though, look at what he's telling them to do concerning her. And then you think to yourself, if those people, if this was a real life scenario, and these people were told to do what they were told to do, and then if they actually did it, what effects would this woman experience as a result of the individuals actually doing what they were told to do against this victim? Okay? Now, that whole entire video was about gang stalking. So in closing, just hear me out. What you got to understand here in gang stalking is that they got to be able to get the community at large to assist them in what they're doing to a victim. But the average American citizen, if a criminal was to approach them and say that we're human traffickers or we're involved in identity, any type of crime you can think of, they're involved in. They're not going to walk up to them and say we're involved in all these different types of crimes because these people would tell them to go straight to hell and even call the cops on them. Hell. You thoroughly research gang stalking and slander campaigns, fake bogus criminal investigation files, okay, and how gang stalking operates in order to get the community assistance, okay, in the harassment, in the staged events, and so on and so forth. Just do what I tell you to do. Now, fellow American citizens, they're making women homeless and putting them out on the street, tracking them to the wooded areas where they go to rest at, to be by themselves so they're not being harassed directly, okay, and to sleep at, because they've been forced into this situation, including people that have been gang stalked in 8, 9, 10 different apartment complexes. Google that. So they know that people have to sleep. So what they do is put them out on the street, track the target to the wooded area where they go to, so they can be by themselves, so they're not being directly harassed. Okay, so they can have some measure of peace, even though they are overtly directly harassed. Okay, at the wooded areas, but they will also bring people up on the property in order to induce fear that they're going to be seen, discovered, or that their property will be seen, and the police will be called. And that if they're put in jail, they could be set up in jail. They could lose their benefits as a result of going to jail. This is a whole type of a special type of form of mental control. Okay. Now, if you don't believe what I'm stating, you can go to my blog, which is attached to my Twitter account. Okay. Which is at HIGGINSGGGG. You're going to see videos in that blog. You're going to see massive evidence. You're going to see the radio show links that I've been on that are attached and introduced in the blog. You're going to see many videos showing text messages that they sent to my older phone, literally stating that we're going to set you up to be arrested for illegal lodging. They sent me 3 letters in the mail regurgitating the same shit. And then what they'll do is they'll prop up people around me at wooded areas. And they'll say buzzwords like, who's that in there? What's in that? What's in there? What's going on? Or they'll have people walk through the property to intentionally try to solicit this fear. Because what they'll do when they bring people up on the property, they're told to do a specific thing for the target to see. And what they're told to do, like research gang stalking and physical gestures, which are directly connected to sensitization techniques. Okay? Now, that is going to kind of like say if you have an individual that comes up in the wooded area where the target's at, okay, where they know where the target's at through GPS tracking in real time, down to the foot. So they know where the target's at. So they'll have an asshole walk through the property, and then as he or she walks by the target, they'll engage in a specific physical gesture. They know that you can catch a physical gesture on a running recording tape recorder you might be wearing for your own safety to record any event that's brought about towards you. You can tape record an intentional physical gesture, which is basically done so the target sees it, so the target will be sent an overt implied message that this person walking up on the property is being told to walk up on the property because of gang stalking. While they'll deny every bit of it, lie about it like you would not believe if an event does transpire, while they'll try and portray the target as crazy. This is where law enforcement comes into play at, and the courts. Okay? And, but it's done to intentionally let the target know so the target feels mentally harassed and mentally controlled about the situation because they're powerless over the circumstance of being homeless because they were put into homelessness, and they know that the target knows that if they got another apartment that they would eventually lose it again because of gang stalking. You understand? So it's a form of mental control where they stalk you to the wooded areas. They will intentionally let you know that they know where you're at. Okay? They'll intentionally anchor fear in your mind that you're going to be arrested through the text messages, the verbal threats that you hear along your routes concerning you that they prop up around you for you to hear, and through the 3 letters in the mail. Okay, so they feel that once they got this classically conditioned fear anchored in your mind, they will then prop up the physical props and the continued overt verbal props around you at the wooded area to make you believe that you might be discovered and then ticketed or arrested. And that is a form of mental control, mind control. Absolutely. Because what they're doing is controlling your circumstance, okay, creating the fear, reinforcing it through the repetition of the overt direct harassment that is attached to the type of fear that they created, okay, which is basically nothing but repeated threats about being discovered and arrested, and then propping up the props, the sound props, the verbal props, and the physical props to keep that fear alive, to keep the fear alive, okay, because fear and inducing fear is a form of mental control. And this is literally part of what gang stalking operates. Now, I'm going to let you go, but before I do, go to YouTube and type in the following way concerning what I say. You can go to YouTube and you can type in California teenagers caught on surveillance harassing neighbors. Now, I want you to look at what's in that video concerning what these 2 teenagers did. They first went after the cars, okay? Then they went after the front screen door. Then they made sure that they were seen hanging around, okay, beneath the bedroom window of one of the victim's daughters. So look at the type of fear. Look at the type of fear that was generated from that. Okay, the 3 most precious things that people will feel very concerned about: the theft of their car, the intentionally cutting a hole in the front door. That's done to make you wonder, am I going to come home today? Is my house going to be broken into? The intentional making sure that the men were seen below the window frame of the daughter's bedroom. That was done to make them worry about home invasion and possible rape. Now, that's gang stalking. Gang stalking is where they will constantly and repetitively, over and over and over again, do things for you to see and witness. And as a result, what you see and witness, what you see and hear, leads your thinking to produce the fear, and then to reinforce the fear through the repetition. And what 3 main things would make any human being afraid of? Their car being stolen, that's their way of transportation, their home being broken into and their property stolen, or even worse, and the physical safety of their daughter. Okay. Now that video, that news broadcast is about gang stalking. It just wasn't mentioned. I know for a fact. Okay. And then look at what the victims were stating in reference to how it affected them, about how they never feel safe, about how they don't know what to expect next. You understand? So, fellow American citizens, this is my way to show you what gang stalking victims have to deal with just in this aspect. And what I just described to you is nothing compared to what we endure on a daily basis. On a fucking daily basis, because of these wild, sick, demented, criminal, psychopathic horrors. Now, what I put in the title of this Periscope video is a YouTube URL link. You better watch it, and you better research everything that's in it. Do it, okay? Just do it, because that's going to really blow your mind. Research all descriptions that are made in it, every single one. Now, I'm also going to expose in this video, I want you to go to Google and type in Curtis Webb, San Diego DA's office, Facebook page, human trafficking. That's a direct payback for the bullshit that they're still propping up around me concerning the wooded areas. If you can't feel safe in your own sanctuary, then these motherfuckers aren't going to feel safe concerning hiding their criminality through the covetousness of the media not covering what they're doing. Because I'll expose your criminal ass, because I don't give two shits who you are. So you better research that shit as well. Because it's not just Curtis Webb that's being exposed. My name is Lester Williams. I'm in San Diego, California. These people have had enough warnings from me. If you come into my home, even if it's just on the boundaries of it, okay, you will eventually deal with me legally. Make no mistake about it. See, these people know. They know that I don't put up with this shit. And that's one of the reasons why they're continuing to do it, because they want to provoke you mentally. Okay? Absolutely. They want to provoke you mentally. They want to keep you in the victimized mindset. Because when they create the homelessness of you, you no longer have a front door. Okay, to keep you separate from physical people. Meaning they can bring up anybody towards you physically. Anybody. For any reason. Robberies, rape, theft, any type of assault. They want to be able to blur the boundaries between your sense of physical safety, the boundaries that you should be able to have self-mastery over your physical safety, the boundaries between you and victimization that's happening to you. So, as a result of my boundaries being constantly violated every single day in some of the most felonious ways, everybody better go to Google and research UCSD and gang stalking. Gang stalking is directly connected to human trafficking. UCSD police was directly involved in it, as well as SDSU police. And you better go to Google and type in San Diego District Attorney's Office, Curtis Webb, human trafficking, Facebook page. And research what's on that Facebook page until you get to the section concerning him being exposed and members of the San Diego Sheriff's Department. Paybacks are a bitch, motherfuckers, because you have been warned a million times to stay away from me pertaining to wooded areas. You continually ignore me, so I'm coming into your home. I'm coming into your space. And the reason why I'm saying that directly, folks, is because I already know cyber surveillance is a method of gang stalking, meaning that they cyber surveil everything you do. Okay? So Google that as well. Alright, gotta get to San Diego, California. Thank you for listening. Please share this video and make sure you research what's in the title of this Periscope video. Thank you.